Eyal Yacobi, who I follow over on X, shared this video, which really just showcases the level of insanity that has become the Free Palestine movement. It's become more about this ideological mad movement, aside from anything that is actually good in society. It's become more of an annoyance than anything that is actually helpful or relevant to freeing any of the Palestinian people. Now, if you really want to help free the Palestinian people, then why in the world don't you get over there, get over to Gaza if your plight and their plight is exactly the same, and you actually try and do the things you're trying to do in the Western democracy that we now live in at the moment while it lasts. I don't think you'd be able to do any of the things that you are talking about or saying, or even the right to protest, for example. I don't think that would actually fly over in Palestine, or over in Gaza. Let's just say that, right? So it seems to be a rather intriguing, very intriguing message indeed, when you have the likes of a trans Muslim woman who is also disabled. You've hit the actual inclusive lottery there, haven't you? A trans Muslim woman who's actually a biological dude, I'll have you know, that also happens to be disabled. So you'd be reaping all the benefits of claiming to be disabled. I wonder if this person merely just identifies as being disabled because this person identifies as being trans, and then I wonder if this person actually identifies as being Muslim too. Like, the whole identity nonsense is just a massive wave for this particular person. And today, this person is marching for the liberation of the Palestinian people and doing quite a good job at it by standing outside somewhere in London and talking to a mass group of pro-Palestinian dingbats. And Eyal Yacobi goes, I have no words. I am going to try my best to give you guys some of my words because Eyal has no words. And I mean, when I first saw this, I was going, wow, the level of dingbattery is ever increasing. I didn't think I'd see something this nuts, but lo and behold, I can be shocked sometimes. Have a watch.
I stand before you all as a proud Kashmiri trans Muslim woman. I'm disabled, and this state hates that. This state has burned trans and disabled people to create a smokescreen to cover the further bodies that they are burning around the world. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, Cardiff. Today, I stand and I march for the liberation of my people in the trans community, my people in the disabled community, my people in the Kashmiri community, to my beloved Palestinian people, to all of these people and the intersections that they represent, who meet me where I stand at the crossroads of so many places of suffering. We will all be free, inshallah. Sorry. One thing about the multiple layers of suffering you experience as a multiply marginalized person, and one of the realizations you have, is that it is all manufactured. It is all manufactured by the greed of people at the top. It is all manufactured by the echoes of an empire that never really did disappear. It just removed its visible claws from the land that it occupied. So today I stand and I ask you, will you march with me against these farces of violence, against these manufactured instances of oppression created to separate us and divide us? Will you march with me? It's been a tough week. So I'm not going to keep talking for too long before we start marching soon. But I do want people to remember the history, to remember that Kashmir was ripped apart a year before the Nakba happened. Our struggles have always been intersectioned. To remember that trans people are being used as fodder in a culture war to distract every member of this population from the genocides that this country and so many other countries are continuing to enact. And it is time for the people here to wake up. It is time for the people to realize that someone else's freedom, someone else's liberty does not push us down, that every single piece of liberty that we win is a win for all of us.
We will all be free. He said the word that I hoped that he wouldn't say, but he did anyway. And this person claims to be disabled, got a cane, and well, this person is doing all this person can, being a Kashmiri trans woman, again, whatever the hell that means, and wearing a dress, wearing the heels. Gee, I wonder, you're disabled, you got a cane, and yet you are quite overweight by the looks of things, and you're wearing heels, and yet you've got a cane. Surely to goodness, common sense would actually help you and make you realize I'm actually stretching quite a bit by saying common sense should prevail in this kind of moment. But lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, common sense has not prevailed one little bit for this particular person, because this person, all they seem to care about is the liberation of the Palestinian people, the liberation of the trans community. And apparently leaders of the world in Cardiff or Wales or wherever else in the world you are, world leaders are apparently burning trans people, they're burning Palestinian people, they're burning everyone, according to this particular person. But hey, maybe I am just overreaching and hoping for a little bit of common sense to prevail somewhat, and to at least hope that if you're disabled and you've got a cane, maybe it's not a good idea to wear heels or even a dress, considering how big you are. But maybe that's just me. And also, maybe it's not a good idea to say that you are trans and then also claim to be Muslim as well, because you know what Muslims do to people like yourself. I'm just pointing out the facts of your own identifying religion that you claim to be a part of. But this is the problem in the West. You're allowed to do this kind of stuff, which I'm all for, right? And it means that I get to criticize you for doing such nonsense and such ridiculousness. But you can't march like this in the streets of Palestine, or the streets of Gaza, I should say, more likely, and get away with it. You can't even identify as being trans in Gaza, because you know what would actually happen to you? See you later. No longer exist. The whole idea of transgenderism doesn't even exist over in Gaza, I'll have you know. And if anyone chose to identify as being trans, or even wanting to point out that they may be homosexual, done. See you later. We've heard story after story of what happens to people that are in Gaza at the moment that identify as being trans, or even choose to come out as being gay. We know what happens to them. They don't last very long. But hey, this is what we already know. The Free Palestine movement has just become an ideological nuisance. That's all it is. It's there for everyone that claims to have some kind of plight to join together. And you're seeing the suicidal empathy on full display. That's Gad Saad's terminology, I'll have you know. And I can't wait for his book to come out. But, I mean, there's loads of case studies of Gad Saad's book, Suicidal Empathy, that is going to be released hopefully soon, that we can all use. And this is one of them. Like, look, you don't even know or even understand what you're trying to liberate to begin with. That's the kind of brain rot that has gone on in one person's head for a little bit too long. Let's just say that. Multiply marginalized person. Gee, that is a new terminology that I didn't really think too much about until right now. Multiple marginalized person. I think that's an easier way of saying somewhat that you claim to be trans, Muslim, disabled, and you're identifying as a woman. So maybe, and you are Kashmiri. So maybe you're also overweight too. That's another signal of oppression that you're labeling onto yourself. You know what this signals to me? Signals to me that you are just incredibly lazy and you couldn't be bothered getting off your backside and actually doing a little bit of exercise. But I don't know your life story. I don't know what's happened to you, but judging based around how you're presenting oneself and then also the things you're saying, seems to be like you are lazy and couldn't care less about doing anything to help yourself be better, not just mentally, but also physically and perhaps spiritually too. But gee, again, what do I know? Anyway, my friends, you let me know in the comment section what you think of this brave soul for getting up there in Cardiff, Wales, and sharing to everyone how this person is actually on a liberation tour, a liberation march for the Palestinian people over in Gaza at the moment. But he won't join the actual fights. He won't join the Palestinian people in Gaza at the moment. Why would you do that? I've got the safety of Cardiff, Wales. I've got the support of all the other dingbats around me. So why would I need to go over and support the Palestinian movement? How can you free anyone standing in Cardiff, Wales? You can't. Just pointing that out. Except you're showing everyone your true colors, true nature, the fact that you're a dingbat, and you need a lot of help by the looks of things to liberate your mind from evil. Let's point that out. Anyway, that's enough from me. You guys take care. Be blessed. And I'll see you all in the next video.